watching A Billion Ideas with me, Maria Shakil, this Saturday, where we are taking up an important topic, which is the reproductive health of women and the laws governing them. After the Supreme Court of US stunning decision in June, which overturned Roe v. Wade, the landmark 1973 law, which guaranteed every American woman the right to an abortion, women across the country have been protesting, demanding the right to control their own bodies and reproductive health, a right they had been guaranteed for almost 50 years. The outrage comes due to the political power of the pro-life campaign in the US, which believes that the life of a child begins at the point of conception, equating an abortion at any stage to murder. 13 American states had triggered law in place which banned abortions the second Roe v. Wade was overturned. 14 states have now banned or restricted abortion access. 60% of the abortion clinics in 11 states have been shut down, forcing millions of women to travel for reproductive health care, which disproportionately affects minorities in these states. This has put the focus on India's abortion laws. While there is no ban in any part of the country, the law has been constantly evolving since the 1971 Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, bringing in provisions for sexual assault, mental illness, and fetal complications as well. Currently, the upper limit for an abortion is 24 weeks, but there's still a stigma over the marital status of a woman. On July 21st, in what will be seen as a historic judgment, the Apex Court overturned the Delhi High Court's order which denied a woman's right to an abortion because she was unmarried. The woman in question was in a consensual relationship and had moved the High Court when she was 23 weeks pregnant. The Supreme Court called the High Court order unduly restricted, emphasizing the term partner in the abortion law, saying the right extends to all women, including those who are unmarried. The top court has also said that forcing a woman to undergo an unwanted pregnancy goes against the spirit of the law. But this legal tussle from one court to another begs the question, does the abortion law in India also needs more reforms? Today we look at the situation both in the US and how our decisions of the courts here are far more progressive. Joining me on the show, Jessie Hill. She's a lawyer and law professor at a university in US. She's joining me from Ohio. We also have Mr. Michael Konidakis. He is lawyer and president of Ohio Right to Life. Jasmine George is a lawyer here in India, and Nidhi Jha is a gynecologist. I'm going to begin with you, Jessie, because in India there is a lot of discussion happening, particularly after what happened in the US with this reversing of the Roe v. Wade judgment. In March 2022, Kerala High Court in India permitted a termination of a pregnancy of 31 weeks of a 10-year-old rape survivor. There has been similar such verdicts that have come from other courts in India as well, which are certainly being seen as far more progressive. Do you think when a country gives access to abortion, it really means that women's rights are protected in that country?
Well, I think that that's an important part of protecting women's rights, certainly. And this is something actually that the dissenting justices in the US Supreme Court case that was recently decided, that they really emphasized was that the right to end a pregnancy is fundamentally not just about freedom, but also about equality, that it both, gives women an opportunity to chart their own life course and to make decisions about their own bodies. And so it is deeply intertwined with the ability of women to be equal citizens.
And would you say then that this judgment in US has actually taken the entire country back in time when US celebrates itself as a progressive democracy? America has actually gone back by perhaps 150 years or more with this kind of judgment where women do not have right over their own body, and which is certainly being seen as regressive.
Yeah, that's right. It certainly does feel like the US has taken a significant step backwards. I mean, in the US Supreme Court case, the court explicitly looked at the 19th century to determine what our rights should be today under the US Constitution, which, of course, it seems absurd to determine the rights of women compared to what they were in the 19th century. And I think it's interesting that you raised this case of the very young rape victim in India, because we had a very similar case here in the US where there was a 10-year-old rape victim that had to leave actually my home state of Ohio in order to access an abortion in an adjoining state, because Ohio banned abortion at 6 weeks of pregnancy. And so, I think that these sorts of cases really highlight the inhumanity of these laws. And it does suggest that India is more progressive on this issue than the US right now, and really is recognizing the importance of abortion rights for women's equality in a way that seems to have escaped many of the Supreme Court justices in the US.
Coming on this, Michael,